The $5 million move nobody saw coming. Young Thug walked out of one of the most watched legal battles in hip-hop, disappeared from the noise, and then made a move that stunned everybody. He reportedly dropped $5 million in cash on a brand new Florida mansion. No mortgage, no financing, no waiting on a bank. Just an all-cash purchase that raised one huge question: why would a man tied so deeply to Atlanta suddenly plant his flag in Cooper City? The property looks like a statement. 7 bedrooms, 7.5 bathrooms, nearly 6,000 square feet on 2 private acres in South Florida. The home features double-height ceilings, marble floors, imported Italian wood doors, a luxury kitchen built around a waterfall island, and a separate guest cabana that feels like a second house. But the price may be even more shocking. The mansion had once been listed much higher, then relisted near $6 million, before Young Thug reportedly closed for about $1 million less. That kind of discount does not happen by accident. Cash buyers move differently. They give sellers speed, certainty, and fewer chances for a deal to collapse. The paperwork reportedly ran through a trust connected to an LLC, adding another layer of privacy around the purchase. But this story is bigger than luxury. This mansion may be the clearest sign yet that Young Thug is not simply buying a home, he is building a new life after courtroom headlines, time behind bars, and legal conditions that changed where he could live. Florida may not be a vacation move at all. It may be the headquarters of his second act. So what do you think? Is this mansion a symbol of freedom, or a luxury escape from everything he left behind? Tell us where you are watching from. Press 1 if you believe this is the beginning of a major comeback, or press 2 if you think the hardest chapter is still ahead. Subscribe to the channel, because the real reason he chose Florida is where this story gets even deeper. Inside Young Thug's private Florida fortress. The moment those motorized gates open, Young Thug's newest purchase stops looking like a regular celebrity mansion and starts feeling more like a private fortress. The nearly 6,000 square foot home sits deep inside 2 acres of land in Cooper City, far from the constant noise, cameras, and nightlife usually associated with Miami. There is real distance between the street and the front door, to enough space to create the kind of privacy most famous artists can only imagine. Inside, the scale changes immediately. Double-height ceilings stretch above the main living areas, creating the atmosphere of a luxury hotel rather than a family home. Marble flooring runs through the interior, reflecting natural light across open rooms, while solid wood doors imported from Italy add a level of detail that most buyers would never even consider. These are not decorative upgrades placed in one showcase room. They are part of the design throughout the estate. Then there is the kitchen, arguably the centerpiece of the entire property. A massive marble waterfall island dominates the room, with stone flowing over the sides toward the floor. Custom wood cabinetry surrounds state-of-the-art appliances, turning the space into something designed equally for private dinners, business meetings, and large gatherings. Upstairs, the primary suite offers another layer of separation. His and hers walk-in closets provide 2 completely independent spaces, while the spa-inspired bathroom turns the room into a personal retreat. Every detail suggests comfort, but also control. Nothing feels temporary. Nothing feels like a rushed purchase made immediately after a difficult chapter. And that may be the most important detail. Young Thug did not buy a flashy condo where photographers could wait outside. He chose land, distance, walls, gates, and silence. The luxury gets the headlines, but the design tells a deeper story. This house was built for someone who wants to decide exactly who gets close, when they arrive, and how far the outside world is allowed to follow. The second home hidden on the property. Most luxury estates advertise extra bedrooms for visiting friends and family, but Young Thug's new property goes far beyond that. Sitting separately from the main residence is an approximately 8.84 square foot guest cabana with 2 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms. Calling it a cabana almost makes it sound smaller than it really is. In practice, it functions like a second home. That distinction matters. Guests do not have to walk through the main house, share private hallways, or occupy rooms next to the owner's personal space. Family members, close friends, staff, or creative partners could stay on the property while still living independently. For an artist whose personal and professional worlds often overlap, that separation could be extremely valuable. The entertainment spaces inside the main residence are equally dramatic. One room reportedly includes a professional pool table and an enormous 200-inch LED screen. That is not simply a large television mounted above a fireplace. It approaches the scale of a small movie theater, turning the room into a private venue for films, sports, listening sessions, or unreleased music previews. Together, the game room and guest residence reveal how the property could operate behind closed doors. It is not difficult to imagine collaborators staying for several days, artists gathering for private creative sessions, or family members visiting without disrupting the main residence. The estate can entertain people while still protecting the owner's personal boundaries. That flexibility makes the purchase feel less like a trophy and more like a working compound. Young Thug can live there, host there, create there, and disappear there without depending on hotels, clubs, or public studios. After years in which nearly every movement became part of a headline, having that level of control may be worth as much as the marble. Imported doors and oversized rooms. The property's most impressive feature may not be any single luxury item. It may be the way every structure creates layers of distance. There is distance from the road, distance from neighbors, distance between guests and the main residence, and distance between Young Thug's new life and the public chaos that defined the years before it. Luxury was never the real priority. At first glance, the mansion appears to be another story about a successful rapper spending millions on luxury. But the deeper you look, the clearer it becomes that style may not have been the most important reason. Young Thug chose this estate. The real priority seems to be security. The property is protected by automated gates and a sophisticated surveillance system designed to cover more than a front entrance on 2 acres of land. Security means monitoring long driveways, open grounds, tree lines, entrance, and the space surrounding multiple structures. Anyone approaching the main home could be detected long before reaching the front door. For an ordinary buyer, that might sound excessive. For someone whose name spent years attached to one of the most publicized legal cases in music, it may feel necessary. Young Thug's face, family, relationships, business, and courtroom appearances were repeatedly discussed across television, social media, and entertainment news. Privacy was no longer something he could assume. It became something he had to build. Cooper City also offers a different environment from the most visible parts of South Florida. It does not carry the same non-stop celebrity traffic as Miami Beach or South Beach. It is quieter, more suburban, and better suited to someone attempting to live outside the center of attention. A gated 2-acre property can exist there without creating the same spectacle it might attract in a dense entertainment district. That changes the meaning of the purchase. The mansion is not only a place to display success, it is a controlled zone where Young Thug can decide how much of himself remains visible. After years of hearings, testimony, allegations, delays, and cameras, silence may be one of the most expensive luxuries he could buy, and the decision to pay in cash strengthens that sense of control. No recorded mortgage means no lender attached to the home and no long financing process standing between the buyer and the keys. The deal closed quickly, privately, and reportedly through a trust connected to an LLC, but even that does not explain everything. The biggest reason Young Thug needed a new base was not hidden inside the mansion's security system. It was written into the legal conditions that followed him out of the courtroom. Why Atlanta was no longer an option. To understand why Young Thug planted his new life in Florida, the story has to return to Atlanta and the case that changed everything. In May 2022, he was taken into custody as part of the YSL RICO prosecution, a case in which prosecutors alleged that YSL operated as a criminal enterprise. The proceedings became one of the most closely followed legal battles hip-hop had seen in years. For more than 900 days, Young Thug remained behind bars while the case moved through hearings, delays, testimony, and constant public debate. His career did not completely disappear, but his ability to direct it was frozen. Every new headline focused less on music and more on what was happening inside the courtroom. The case reached a turning point in October 2024, when he entered a plea and received a sentence that allowed him to leave custody with time served. Freedom, however, came with major conditions. He was placed under a lengthy probation period, and the court imposed restrictions affecting his ability to return to the Atlanta area, except under limited circumstances. That condition reshaped the practical reality of his release. Atlanta was not simply a city where Young Thug once lived. It was the foundation of his identity, his music, his relationships, and the YSL movement he built. Studios, neighborhoods, collaborators, and memories tied to nearly every stage of his rise were located there. Walking free while being unable to resume life normally, in the place he considered home, created a strange kind of victory. He regained his physical freedom, but not the freedom to return to his old routine. A permanent residence somewhere else was no longer optional. It became part of the structure of his new life. That is why the Florida mansion carries emotional weight beyond its price. It represents adaptation to circumstances he did not fully choose. The property may be beautiful, but its existence is connected to loss. The loss of time, the loss of normal access to Atlanta, and the loss of the life that existed before the indictment. Young Thug did not simply upgrade from one mansion to another. He bought a new center of gravity because the old one was no longer available to him in the same way. The Atlanta life he had to leave behind. Before the courtroom became the center of Young Thug's public story, Atlanta was where almost every part of his world came together. It was where his sound developed, where YSL grew from a label into a cultural force, and where his relationships with artists, producers, executives, and longtime friends were built. His former Buckhead mansion reflected that era. Reports described a massive residence with more than 10,000 square feet, 7 bedrooms, and numerous bathrooms. It was the kind of property associated with Atlanta rap success, large, visible, and positioned inside a neighborhood where entertainment, money, and influence frequently crossed paths. That home belonged to a period when Young Thug could move through the city as both a local figure and an international star. Atlanta was not merely the backdrop to his career. It was part of the product. The slang, fashion, production style, artists, and energy surrounding him were connected to the city's hip-hop ecosystem. Now that chapter has been interrupted. The Buckhead property belongs to the past. While the Florida estate represents a life that had to be designed under different rules, the contrast between the two homes is striking. One stood close to the center of his original world. The other sits behind gates in a quieter suburb, hundreds of miles away. There is also something symbolic about the Florida house being newly completed. Young Thug is not moving into a mansion filled with another owner's history. He is entering a property that was finished around the same period his own legal chapter was reaching its conclusion. The building and his second chance appeared almost at the same time. Still, starting over does not erase what came before. A new address cannot replace the people, memories, and culture that made Atlanta feel like home. It can only give him a place to rebuild while living with the reality that part of his old life remains restricted. That tension makes the mansion more emotionally complicated than the headline suggests. It is both a reward and a reminder, proof that he still has the resources to move forward, but also evidence that moving forward required leaving something important behind, a comeback built beyond the courtroom. Since leaving custody, Young Thug has appeared to move with a different kind of energy. Instead of immediately returning to the loudest possible version of celebrity life, reports have described him maintaining a relatively low profile, making occasional public appearances, and showing support for other artists. That quieter approach may be strategic. For years, the public consumed his life through courtroom updates, legal analysis, rumors, and arguments over the YSL case. A sudden return filled with controversy could easily pull attention back toward the same narrative. By moving carefully, Young Thug has the opportunity to replace those images one appearance at a time. The Florida estate provides the perfect base for that process. It offers a controlled environment where he can meet with collaborators, plan releases, spend time with family, and prepare for performances without inviting the public into every step. The separate guest residence and entertainment areas could also support private creative sessions away from traditional studios. More importantly, his comeback is not only about restoring his own career. Young Thug has long been recognized for influencing younger artists and helping shape sounds that later became dominant across hip-hop. His next chapter gives him a chance to reposition himself, not just as a performer, but as a leader, guiding a new generation connected to YSL. That is where the story becomes bigger than a mansion or even a tour. His challenge is to transform public perception. He has to move from being discussed primarily as the central figure in a legal case to being viewed again as an artist, executive, collaborator, and creative force. The money suggests he still has financial strength. The industry relationships suggest he still has respect. The audience interest proves people are still watching. But a true comeback requires more than surviving. It requires direction. Every decision now carries symbolic weight. Where he lives, who appears beside him, which songs he releases, and how he speaks about the past. The Florida mansion may be the physical headquarters, but the larger rebuilding process is happening in public, one carefully controlled move at a time. The tour that could redefine his career. A mansion can show financial stability, but a tour reveals whether an artist still has cultural power. Young Thug's announced return to the road represents one of the most important tests of his career. After years away from major touring, stepping back onto stages across North America and Europe would place him directly in front of the audience that watched his legal battle unfold from a distance. The tour is significant not only because of its scale, but because of what it communicates. Young Thug is not presenting himself as a man quietly retiring behind the gates of a Florida estate. He is preparing to work, travel, perform, and reconnect with fans across multiple cities. The presence of younger YSL artists makes the strategy even clearer. Instead of using every minute of attention only to restore his own name, he can introduce emerging performers to larger audiences. That approach strengthens the label's future while reminding the industry that his influence has always extended beyond his own records. One of the most emotionally complicated moments is the reported Atlanta stop. Although his legal conditions restrict his ability to live normally in the area, a supervised or approved performance can be treated differently from establishing residency. That creates a powerful contradiction. He may be able to stand on an Atlanta stage for one night, hear thousands of people welcome him home, and then leave the city again. For fans, that show could feel like a celebration. For Young Thug, it may carry a mixture of triumph, grief, pride, and distance. The city that launched his career can still receive his music, even if it cannot fully receive his everyday life. The tour will also answer questions that money cannot. Are fans still emotionally connected to him? Can he command the same energy after years away? Can the music become louder than the courtroom story? If the tour succeeds, it could shift the conversation dramatically. The mansion would no longer look like a retreat from public life. It would look like the secure home base of an artist rebuilding his career across 2 continents. Old tensions follow him into the new chapter. A new house, a new state, and a new tour can create the appearance of a clean beginning. But the past rarely disappears that easily. Even after the legal case reached its resolution, the emotional and personal consequences surrounding YSL continued to shape how fans interpreted Young Thug's music and public behavior. That became clear when a snippet of an unreleased song circulated online. Some listeners believed certain lyrics were aimed at a former YSL co-defendant, while others argued that the line was too vague to prove anything. No confirmed explanation established the meaning, but the speculation spread quickly because the audience was already searching for signs of unresolved tension. This is where the post-trial chapter becomes dangerous for everyone involved. A single lyric can be removed from its context, turned into a headline, and interpreted as a declaration of conflict before the full song is even released. Fans can create narratives faster than artists can correct them. For Young Thug, that means the music itself may become the new courtroom in the public imagination. every bar, collaboration, absence, and social media post could be examined for hidden messages about loyalty, betrayal, or the case. Even silence can be treated as evidence by an audience determined to find a feud. But there is another path available. The same music that keeps old tension alive can also help him move beyond it. Instead of allowing speculation to define the comeback, he can focus attention on new ideas, new artists, and the future he is attempting to build. That choice may determine the meaning of the Florida mansion. It can become a fortress where resentment grows in private, or it can become a place where distance creates perspective. It can protect him from the outside world, but it cannot automatically protect him from the emotions and damaged relationships that followed him out of Atlanta. The most difficult part of starting over is not buying a new home. It is deciding which parts of the old life deserve to enter through the gate. More than a mansion, the strategy behind the reset. Young Thug's $5 million Florida mansion is not just proof that he still has money. It is the center of a larger strategy. By buying through a trust connected to an LLC, paying in cash, and choosing a quiet 2-acre property outside the spotlight, he created privacy, separation, and control while rebuilding his public life. The same strategy appears in his career. A major tour puts the focus back on music. Bringing younger YSL artists on the road gives the next generation exposure, while reminding the industry that his influence reaches beyond his own catalog. The house becomes the secure base. The tour becomes the public comeback, and the label becomes the long-term legacy. But the smartest move from here will not be the loudest one. His future depends on discipline, years of probation, restrictions tied to Atlanta, and intense public attention mean one reckless decision could threaten everything he has rebuilt. Money can buy gates, cameras, marble floors, and distance, but it cannot buy good judgment. That is the real lesson behind this story. A second chance only matters when it leads to different choices. Success is not simply returning to the same life with more money. It is learning which relationships bring peace, which conflicts are not worth continuing, and which opportunities can create something positive for the people around you. Young Thug now has the chance to turn pain into music, influence into mentorship, and survival into a more stable future. The strongest comeback would not be built on revenge or old tension. It would be built on responsibility, creativity, family, and peace. So, is this mansion the symbol of a true new beginning, or only the first move in a complicated comeback? Comment 1 if you believe Young Thug is entering his strongest chapter yet. Or comment 2 if you think the biggest test is still ahead. Tell us where you are watching from. Like this video, share it with another hip-hop fan, and subscribe for more stories from inside the world of rap.